Hey, Battle Built, here with another video, getting some more Season 9 Go Battle League battles, these taking place in the Open Great League meta, and for today's feature, we are focusing on another Pokemon that was affected by the move pool and move update of Season 9 Go Battle League season, and that Pokemon is going to be Greedent. Greedent already had access to Bullet Seed, Body Slam, and Crunch, and we learned towards the end of last season how much of a beast Greedent can be, and now it's been improved because of the Season 9 update to the move Crunch. Crunch already gave Greedent some nice coverage, but now let's get some more information on screen about it right there over to the right. Trying to, add a little extra to the videos. Crunch now has a 30% chance of a defense debuff to the opponent. It would be a one-stage defense drop. Alongside Crunch on the screen, you'll see that those are some comparable moves that Crunch is similar to. It always blew my mind when I found out recently that Crunch was literally the same move as Foul Play, just a different name and different Pokemon get access to it. I always thought Crunch took more energy, but Crunch does 70 damage and takes 45 energy, similar to Foul Play. But now Crunch is an even better move because of the potential defense debuff, and Greedent has access to it. Greedent has quite the coverage with a Grass Fast move, a Body Slam spam because Bullet Seed is so energy efficient, generates energy so well, that's what I'm trying to say. And now we have Crunch to also throw, which has a chance to debuff. So now it actually gets a little tough to pick between, do you want to go for stab or do you want to go for that potential 30% debuff? And that's something I struggled with throughout some of these battles, but I have 10 battles here and Greedent still went off and had a ton of success. I really like this team comp with Greedent. We have Jellicent in the lead. Jellicent making an appearance in back-to-back videos. It's just such a great league Pokemon, along with it being such a great Ultra League Pokemon. And then we have Alolan Ninetales with Powder Snow. I did try Charm at first because I was worried about the Scrafty weakness. This team is definitely weak to Scrafty with a Dark weakness to Jellicent, and then the fighting weakness to Greedent, but you'll see as we go through the video that we can actually handle that Scrafty weakness pretty well with this team comp, and that is also part of the reason why we're still running Ice Beam on our Jellicent. So this is the team comp. I'm going to get into the video. If you want to check out the stats on Crunch, make sure you pause the video, go back and pause so you can check that out. I'm sure you don't want to look at too much longer. You'd rather see Whiscash's adorable little face. That's my Twitch emote. Anyhow, let's get into the battles and let me know what you thought about me, like kind of showing some statistics. Maybe I'll get a little bit more into that. I've kind of swayed away from that. I'm not sure why. I just never really thought to do it until now. But I kind of like to see what Crunch is comparable to, especially when we go over other moves with the Season 9 update, just to get an idea on their changes and what they would be comparable to in the meta when you might use other Pokemon with other moves, like Foul Play on like Umbreon or something. To realize that Umbreon has Foul Play and it's the exact same move as Crunch still mind boggles me. Anyhow, getting into this match, I think we're about to win this because of how spammy Greedent was. I think I threw some Crunch. Did I throw Crunches in this one? I don't know. Anyhow, we throw a Body Slam there, and we take, I think, the first match of the set. Hopefully my intro wasn't too long. I'm also trying to, change around some of the styles. I might start doing it where I kind of give my intro while a battle is running, because we're going to be talking about that Pokemon anyway. You might as well see it in action while I'm using it. And things along those lines. I'll go back to the usual way. You let me know in the comment section below. And as always, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as I try to get you this updated content for Season 9. It really goes a long way in supporting the video and supporting the channel while I try to, get you all the information that I can. Anyhow, we run into one of the most annoying mirrors on the face of the planet, and we run into this mirror multiple times throughout this throughout my battles today. I took a collection of battles. We have 10 here, a set of 10 where I did very well with Greedent, but I used literally all my sets on Greedent to potentially test it, see the strengths and weaknesses and whatnot, and see how often we can get the 30% debuff. And obviously I don't want to show you all 25 battles because that would make for too long of a video, so I picked the 10 most telling battles. That didn't mean we always won. There are definitely losses in here. So we played out that Jelly lead. Thankfully, they didn't have Bubble Beam. It might be in this set, but we run into a Jellicent where they start spamming Bubble Beams, and it gets so annoying to play against Bubble Beam Jellicent when you're running Hex, Shadow Ball, and Ice Beam, because you literally just lose the bait game because you're worried about Shadow Ball and then they bait. Anyhow, they have a Greedent, and their team is looking awfully familiar. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't even put out this video yet. How are you seeing in the future, knowing this is a good team comp? Is your third Pokemon Alolan Ninetales? That'd be scary. But we're going to find out. We're going to be spamming as many Weather Balls as possible. As you can see from the opponent's Greedent, it is quite the tanky Pokemon. I think it has a similar stat product like Skarmory, is what I've heard. Don't quote me completely, but I've definitely been told that. I never checked into it. But from the bulk that you can see, it definitely looks like it's on that level, and you don't have to worry about a flying typing, so that's always nice. We come in with our own Greedent, and we're going to over farm here because we're not worried about the body slams that are going to come through. And then they come in with Nidoqueen, and Nidoqueen made sense as a good third Pokemon on their team comp. I still like Alolan Ninetales more, But Nidoqueen covers that essential, like, you know, Scrafty fighter weakness between the core of Jellicent and Greedent together. They're going to go for a charge move here. This has to be an Earth Power because Poison Fang would not take us out since we would resist it, right? We resist that. Either way, Jelly's so thick, Poison Fang's not taking it out. And then we're going to go for a Body Slam, take out their Nidoqueen, and their last Pokemon is still their Greedent with a lack of health. So we decided to go for the Crunch to see, 1, if it would take out, 2, if we get the debuff, and neither of those things happened. We can go for a Bullet Seed, farm down, and we're not too worried. So now Greedent doesn't get Stab on Crunch. It gets Stab on Body Slam, so it's very tempting. You want to go for Crunch because it's not that much more energy, thanks to Bullet Seed generating energy so well. But I feel like in most situations, you really do want to do Body Slam spam. And unless like your only win condition is getting a defense debuff, I highly recommend not going for Crunch and just going for the Body Slam spam. But again, like I said throughout this video, I'm going to show you that mistake where I go for Crunch when I really shouldn't, and how it may or may not have cost me in those battles. So we have a Jellicent on a Medicham lead here, a very nice lead for us. They decided to stay in, so I'm like, they must be double weak to Jellicent in the back. That Shadow Ball lands, doesn't take out, which is great because we get more farm. And because of that, we're going to decide to pivot. But I make a crucial mistake here, and I realize it after the fact. I farm up a little bit more, and I throw the Ice Beam, which obviously is going to get a shield. I pivot into my non-hard counter, and their last Pokemon is Bastion. This is a situation where you do want to spam Crunch because Bastion's a Rock and Steel type. It's going to resist the Body Slam, so you want to go for the neutral move. We're throwing neutral Bullet Seeds, and we're really hoping for a Crunch debuff. This is a second Crunch coming through. Can we get the debuff? It's a 30% chance, so that means 3 out of every 10 times I should get the debuff, but RNG does not work that way. Just because that's possible does not mean it will happen. And 30% almost kind of simplifies close to 1/3. It's a little bit less than 1/3, but you would hope, you know, 1 out of every 3 times, 4 max, you'd be able to get the Crunch debuff. We throw a third Crunch there, and we finally get the debuff. Look, 1 out of every 3 times. And it may be a little too late. We're going to go for another Crunch here. This could potentially get the shield because their Bastion's debuff. But Bastion's such a tank, they don't care about the debuff. You could see it didn't really do that much more damage, honestly, because of just how bulky Bastion is. They're going to go for a charge move here. It's going to be a Stone Edge. It's not going to take us out, and we just want to get rid of this Bastion and hope that Alola Ninetales can handle the Shadow Venusaur. But because we stayed in the way that we did, the Shadow Venusaur has energy. Click Alola Ninetales because we know the Venusaur is their last Pokemon. They can't swap or, like, you know, alter the matchups. They're going to go for a charge move here. Honestly, I was fully expecting a Frenzy Plant bait, but Frenzy Plant still hurts, and it's Shadow Venusaur, so it was going to hit like a truck. I don't even think they needed Sludge Bomb. They're going to still go for the Sludge Bomb, but between the Vine Whips and the Frenzy Plant, they probably would have taken out my remaining health regardless. We get the shield, and because of that energy they generated, they're able to outpace us to the Sludge Bomb, one-shot the Alola Ninetales, and we can come with either one of our last Pokemon. It's not going to work here. We're going to get Vine Whip down before we can get to the Ice Beam, and then Greedent's not going to be able to get to a charge move because 1 Vine Whip takes out its remaining health. So that was an unfortunate situation, especially after we had 1 lead so nicely, but Shadow Venusaur pretty OP, and that Greedent and Bastion matchup was, you know, a slow one and a grueling one. Get into the next matchup, we have Jellicent on a Galarian Stunfisk lead. We don't mind this too much. We definitely want to be able to call the Earthquake and not get baited. That would be ideal. And we want to land these Shadow Balls. So we're just going to go straight for Shadow Ball. Also, not running Bubble Beam kind of gives some peace of mind when running Jellicent, just because you don't have to like debate to yourself, should I bait? Should I go for the technically super effective move, but the move that does no damage? Maybe I'll get the shield and the debuff. Like, those situations are nice, but then when you just throw the Bubble Beam and they don't get debuffed, it's not a great situation. And then they come in with Jellicent, and this is why I think Greedent's going to do even more amazing in Ultra League, because Jellicent is literally everywhere in Ultra League. It's in a lot of places in Great League too, don't get me wrong, and Greedent absolutely walls it. All they can do here is throw Bubble Beams because they're running Bubble Beam Shadow Ball. Can't be throwing Shadow Ball. If they had Ice Beam, they could be throwing that, but because Greedent's so damn bulky, barely tickles it, even Ice Beams, non-stab Ice Beams. So we're gonna spam some Bullet Seeds. Well, not Bullet Seeds. We're gonna keep on throwing Bullet Seeds because it's our fast move. We're gonna spam some Crunches. They're gonna keep on throwing their Bubble Beams, which is a little unfortunate because we're gonna get our attack debuff. So even though we will take out their Jelly, our Greedent's gonna be permanently scarred with its terribly low attack, the lowest it could possibly be. I think it takes 3 debuffs or 3 buffs to reach maximum attack or minimum attack when it comes to that type of situation. Similarly with defense drops and defense raises. I think 3 is a max. If I'm incorrect, somebody correct me in the comment section below, and I'll make sure I state my error. But they come back in with the Stunfisk, and we're gonna throw a Crunch here. We should have just swapped immediately, but we got a shield, which was nice. Actually, no, wait, this is a match we should have swapped in. We keep on throwing very low attack heavy Crunches, and I was surprised they even shielded to begin with. We're just hoping for a defense debuff, and we get the defense debuff, which kind of counteracts our attack debuff. Never mind, I'm mixing this matchup with another one. We do not want to pivot here. We want to keep things lined up and try to get off another crunch. They make a really good catch to catch the resisted dark move / crunch on their Azumarill. Hoping for another debuff though, and we get it, and that's beautiful. So early on, we were, getting annoyed. We weren't getting our 30% debuff, and then back-to-back times we get it, and that Shadow Ball hits so much harder. We had this win locked up regardless, but it made it feel a lot more comfortable now that the Azu's defense was, lowered, and the Shadow Ball threatens a shield on the second one. They can throw a play rough, we can tank it. Jellicent likes this matchup. Their Stunfisk is also almost dead, and Alola Ninetales can tank a Rock Slide, so we just need to play the remainder of this match out, and we're sitting in a good spot. They also could have made, they would have just gone to another play rough had a shield, so it didn't really matter whether they got to a move or not. We get the Shadow Ball off. We have to build all the way up to another Shadow Ball here, but they decide to throw. There's going to be a Rock Slide. We're going to let it come through. They have some energy from throughout the match, and we're going to come with the little Ninetales. I think they throw another Rock Slide, and just because, we had this win for a while now, I may have one shield flexed on them because, I know Rock Slide's not going to take me out, and you just had to play out the remainder of the match when I clearly had one for a while. And so, I could be a little toxic build from time to time. Also, I apologize for my raspy voice. Raspier than usual because of the fact I was at a sporting event. I was at a Met game, big Met fan from the New York area. That's been stressing me out. I don't want to get too much into detail about it, but I was at the game, and I like to cheer on my team. So that is why I sound like this, and I apologize if that bothers you throughout the video. So here is that Scrafty matchup I was talking about. Here we get outpaced. They get the 2 foul plays before we can get the 2 ice beams. So we're just going to let the charge moves come through. We face 2 Scrafties. I hope I didn't cut out the first match that I'm hoping to see. One of them, they go double foul play, which should be this one. And then the other one, they go foul play and pup, which puts us in an even better spot in a future match. Hopefully they're both in here. I don't remember how I cut it, but they threw both of them, and they recognize we're double weak to Scrafty, so they decide to pivot, which was the smart play to do. But they pivot into Jellicent, and who loves to eat up some Jellicent. Greedent. We are going to spam it with these crunches, potentially get a debuff. It doesn't really matter. The super effective damage is all we care about. We're willing to take an ice beam here or a bubble beam. Honestly, I would have preferred an ice beam. I don't want my attack to be debuffed because we can farm the heck out of this Jellicent. Played into CMP, which is unfortunate. And then body slam spam the Scrafty. That's what we're going to do regardless. So let's see how this plays out. They get off another bubble beam there, and it lowers our attack. And I think this actually doesn't end up KOing because they double debuffed. Yep. So we're going to actually go for a bubble seed. Bullet seed farm down. They do get off another bubble beam. Too many bees here. Battle build with the bees. I'm struggling. But anyhow, we bullet seed down. We have a bunch of energy, and their Scrafty is low. So even though we're debuffed, we do throw a body slam just kind of like out of habit. But we recognize, you know what? Let's clear these debuffs. Let's swap. And that's what we do. We still have another body slam there, and it'll be a non-debuff one that we'll throw at the Scrafty later, which will put us in a better spot than to waste all our energy while our attack is mega debuff because they landed literally 3 bubble beams. They come with Skarmory, and we're going to actually win this match after running into a Scrafty lead, which we are technically double weak to. It definitely helped to land the ice beam, even though it didn't do a ton of damage. Still hit it hard enough to get the Scrafty in range to, take care of it later on in the game. And we're just going to play out this matchup with the Alola Ninetales on the Skarmory. Spam the heck out of it with Weather Balls. We're going to get a shield there. We're going to actually... Did we shield this? Tell me we shield this. My memory's not perfect. I did these battles earlier today. But the logical play here is to shield this because of the fact that, Skarmory double resists our bullet seeds and singular resists our body slams. So we have to get to a crunch there where we can just spam a bunch of neutral damage with the Alola Ninetales. And with how spammy it is, we like this matchup. They also swap in the Scrafty, and I was like, I don't need to pivot. I'm going to just throw the Weather Ball at your Scrafty. This is going to hurt it for some good neutral damage. They're literally one hit away from dying. Come in with Greedent, we bullet seed down. Skarmory comes in with that extra energy. We're able to get to a crunch, and as much as it looks like a good play that they essentially caught our move, it was working out nicely regardless. We were going to throw the Weather Ball, the Skarmory would take it out, and then body slam the Scrafty, or vice versa, how it ended up turning out. So GG's to that opponent. Let's get into the next match. We have Jellicent on Mew. Mew's a weird matchup. I do want to swap, but I want to get a shield. That's what I ended up doing. I don't want to stay in this. It's a lost lead, essentially. We are dealing super effective damage to each other. Actually, I don't know how this matchup goes. Don't even quote me on it being a lost lead. I just don't feel comfortable with, double wild charges coming at me and then me committing 3 shields and potentially getting outpaced. So that's why I don't want to stay in there. And after I got a shield, I save swap in the Greedent. They got a shield back for me because they threw a move. I was expecting, a wild charge and dip. So I ended up shielding. Unfortunately, it was only a surf. Good play on them. Then they come with the Alola Ninetales, and we don't mind this matchup because, ice doesn't resist grass. So bullet seeds are neutral, and we're still spamming the heck out of a body slam. Definitely don't want to go for crunch here. As tempting as that debuff is, that would just be stupid and a waste of energy. So we're going to body slam spam it. But I really like that crunch received this debuff because it's not like, I mean, well, the debuff chance, it's 30% chance. Maybe clear with my English. It's not like a guarantee like the really big moves like Skull Bash and things along those lines. But Crunch is a relatively accessible move. What was it? Let me put it back on screen. 45 energy, not a lot of energy. And with Bullet Seed, we get there very quickly. It takes like 3 or 4 Bullet Seeds depending on the exact portion of the matchup. And of course, with Greedent being so gosh darn tanky, it survived the whole Wild Charge there, and we would have gotten to a Crunch to take out the Mew, and they ended up swapping into a Mandibuzz, which we didn't want to throw Crunch at anyway. And the reason why we didn't throw Crunch there, even though technically they caught the move and Crunch would have been super effective, they debuffed themselves, and I think we landed a Crunch debuff. My memory serves me correct, because I got sidetracked, like always. So Body Slam would have been plenty with how classy Mew is, so that was just a smart play. They could have caught the Crunch, which would have been a good play, but also could potentially debuff them. So it's like, even catching a Crunch now, when it's a resisted move, is not the most ideal situation when you're going up against an opponent using Crunch, because it could still benefit your opponent, or in this case, benefit me when they catch my move, because Crunch can at least, potentially get that that one-stage debuff, which could be very clutch when, playing out the secondary matchup after a swap like that. And they come back in with their Mew. Their Mew's practically dead. They're going to throw a charge move. And Jellicent's fully healthy. Also, Greedent's pretty healthy. Greedent's a pure normal type, so we're not worried about these Shadow Claws. They have to get to another move to take us out. And we get to the Body Slam, and we end up winning this match. But I really like Greedent's diversity and typing. The fact that it's a grass fast move is interesting. Very spammy, a very strong one with energy generation, not actual damage output. Energy generation is a solid one. And then, of course, having something cheap like Body Slam. And then purely a normal type. Normal type usually in general isn't great, but it only takes super effective from fighting, which is cool. And then with the fact that it's a normal type with a move that can hit ghosts, since it's double resisting all the ghosts that come up against it, having that potential to land a super effective move like Crunch, especially now that it's been improved, I think makes Greedent a very viable Pokemon, no matter its PvP ranking. It's not rated very well, but I do think it performs very well against the even Open Great League meta. So we going up against the Scrafty. This is a matchup I was talking about earlier. They foul played and then pupped after. I guess maybe they forgot that pup was double resisted, or the fact that 2 Ice Beams would take them out. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if they make the mistake again and go for another pup, because even even boosted, pup's not gonna take us out, but they go for the foul play there. And I like the situation even better than the first match, because of how they played it. The other opponent played it perfectly, played it how they should have, and we ended up winning. This opponent should have just went straight foul play. I guess maybe they thought I would try to commit, but this is a very bad losing matchup, and a very punishing one if you end up shielding a pup over a foul play. So I'm not taking that chance. 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna take that chance. So we take out the Scrafty there. They come with the Skarmory. We have the Alolan Ninetales with some energy, so we're gonna spam the heck out of it. They're gonna get to their first Sky Attack here, and we're just gonna get to these Weather Balls. Honestly, I forgot Weather Ball was nerfed. I don't know if this nerf was necessarily enough for Weather Ball, because it went from I think 60 damage to 55 or something very small. Let me see if I can pull it up actually. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long. Yeah, it was 60 and now it's at 55 damage. So that 5 damage I don't think was enough. It's super spammy still. I think honestly, because Weather Ballers have taken over the meta the past couple seasons, I honestly think maybe they should have nerfed it to 50. Maybe nerf it a little bit more. They're still super spammy, so it's rely on them for their spamminess, not also their damage output. But I guess that's just kind of my opinion, especially coming from somebody that put out a Politoed, a little Ninetale core team as one of my go-to teams a couple seasons ago. I definitely enjoyed and benefited from how amazing of a move that was. But just for balance throughout the game, I always look forward to that instead of, just being able to come up with the strongest possible teams. So anyhow, we have Greedent on Nidoqueen. I don't know, I got sidetracked. I was looking at my other monitor to give you guys the stats. I think we're just going to outpace it here, get to the Body Slam just in time, take them out, and we're going to win this match. I can't even give you an explanation on how I pulled this one off. I got very sidetracked. Oh, they come back in the Skarmory. And then, of course, we were debuffed. This was an insane match. I remember this one. Again, I literally did it earlier today. I remember this one. We just get to the Body Slam. Even debuff for the Poison Fangs. I was worried about getting Air Slash down. And Greedent just came in clutch with its exceptional tankiness. I really love its stat product. We got, I don't know how many more matches. There's 10 matches total here. So this might be the last one. I don't know. Let's just keep on going to this next battle. So we got Jellicent on another Jellicent lead. So let me complain about this matchup, because I mentioned it earlier, and I think we skipped one of them where I was mad. So I'll just talk about the other one that I'm mad. Here, I'm like, great, I snuck a Hex through. This is looking beautiful. I'm just going to shield. Oh, Bubble Beam. So in this situation, when this happens, I'm like, I'm not staying in this matchup. My goal is to try and catch a Shadow Ball on my Greedent because it's a normal type. And Jellicent's not throwing any moves where my Greedent's going to be worried about potentially getting hit if I mistime the swap, which is what I did because they over-farmed like crazy. They were definitely past a Shadow Ball at that point, and then they waited, and then they threw a Bubble Beam, which was a good play, and I thought they were going to stay in, but then they bring in Scrafty, and Scrafty in the back, obviously you don't want Scrafty lined up with a normal type, but Scrafty in the back isn't that big of an issue because we have a Alolan Ninetales, so it's not like this entire team comp is like super weak to Scrafty. It's more specifically when he faces in the lead. What's unfortunate here is that the opponent nerfed our attack by bubble beaming us before they left, which was a really good play on their part. We sneak in the Bullet Seed there, which is nice. They're going to go for a pop. They're just going to keep on ramping up because there's no point in throwing the foul play. Go for the super effective counters. Ramp up your attack with pop, dealing super effective damage on your fighter. But we get it low, and our switch timers are out of sync. So I recognize that. I come with a Alolan Ninetales. I know they're Scrafty stuck because they decided to like hex and throw a Bubble Beam in our Greedent. So we take advantage of them making a smart play and try to make it a bad play on their end. So we farm down the Scrafty with a bunch of Powder Snows. They come in with the Jellicent, and I go for Dazzling Gleam, which is a mistake on my end. It's like super obvious that I'd want to go for this, so I should have known they were going to shield and baited. Not that like, it's still always a 50-50 shot, but certain situations, it's, there's one side of that 50-50 that's more likely to happen. That doesn't make any sense mathematically. But I could have shielded that Shadow Ball if I would have baited and then gone for Dazzling Gleam. Instead, we go into our own Jelly, knowing we have energy advantage, but not willing to take a chance because they farmed a bunch earlier. Throwing the Shadow Ball immediately, they come in with Hypno, and this is GG because we have a shield. So we would have gone to a Shadow Ball, landed that, and I think Greedent had some health to get off some potential move in case the Hypno was able to beat our Jellicent. And we end up winning that match. Is that the last one? No. I gotta cut these better so there's less queue time in between, even though it's been extremely minimal throughout this video anyway, but I can do a little bit better, so we're getting to the next one. Anyhow, we're going up against Charmeleon Ninetales. Charmeleon Ninetales is a little annoying. We lose a one shield here, but at least we could get the one shield if they decide to shield. They're going to get to a charge move before we get to our next one. So we're going to shield this just in hopes to, play a late game where there's less shields and we have the spammy Pokemon Alolan Ninetales and the tanky one that doesn't really need shields that badly in Greedent. That was our logic. We go for another Shadow Ball here, expecting and hoping for them to actually shield so we could lose this, and they don't. What I was going to do was then, lose the matchup, come in with a Alolan Ninetales, Powder Snow all the way down. Instead, they make a very smart heads-up play, and they farm our Jellicent down, even if they're losing lead. We come in with a Alolan Ninetales, but because they have the two shields, I'm not even going to play the Dazzling Gleam bait game. I'm just going to shield what's hopefully a return, ease a return, and then try to spam the heck out of it Weather Balls to get the shields and get the Sableye really low. Greedent doesn't mind the matchup against Sableye too much. Crunch, at least we have for it. Then they come with a Politoed. And Politoed, we have super effective Bullet Seeds, which is nice, and we can spam Body Slams. But we're at that shield disadvantage, which is a problem. And as you can see, what is that? Charm, Alolan. Actually, wait a minute. This team is extremely similar to my go-to team for the past couple seasons. The only difference was the Sableye over Umbreon. This team clearly still works. I think we end up losing this. They were able to get shields while they kept shields. We're going to spam the heck out of them and slowly try to get shields. But they also made a really good play here. Actually, I have to give them some props. So we're spamming back and forth between the very cheap charge moves, and this kills the switch timer out very quickly. We go for a body slam after this next charge move. We survive this Weather Ball. It's about to come through, and you're going to see what they're going to do right here. They catch a double resisted body slam, which would have gotten me a shield from the Politoed. Instead, they caught it on their Sableye, and then I overfarmed to try to make up for it, and we CMP tie, which was unfortunate. I didn't expect them to throw a foul play. I was like, maybe they'll just go for a return, and then I completely undercharge this in a desperation hope that it won't kill and I can get some of my farm and energy back. But they made some really high level plays there by catching the normal move to not have to use a shield, and then playing that essentially into CMP where I wasted my energy, because that's two charge moves. One, Body Slam would have gotten the shield from the Politoed, and then a Weather Ball that would have taken out the Sableye early, potentially get to a Dazzling Gleam against the Politoed, or get to a Weather Ball and then a Body Slam with Greedent to potentially take out the Jellicent. So very well played by my opponent. Getting into the next match, we have Jellicent on a Bastiodon lead. This is just a slow lead between two very tanky Pokemon, dealing a bunch of neutral damage back and forth, especially because with Hex, I can generate energy quickly, so I'm spamming Shadow Balls. I think when we play out the two shields here, I end up losing, especially the bulkier the Bastiodon, the worse. So we shield the Stone Edge, hoping we can at least play out the one shield here, and then I think we want to come in with Greedent on a low health Bastiodon to Bullet Seed it down, but let's see how this actually ends up playing out. We land another Shadow Ball there. Oh, and then they swap into Shadow Sableye. Not Purified. And what's scary about Shadow Sableye is it doesn't have return. So when you bring in a common counter like Alola Ninetales, they have super effective Power Gem, which is going to hit harder based on the fact that it's a Shadow and super effective than return would have from Purified Sableye. So I didn't recognize that right away, and I had to go into my more obvious of a response to the Sableye, whereas Greedent could have performed there, and I could have thrown crunches. In your mind, when you think of Sableye and you're like, what should I go up against it with? You're going to think the Fairy type. They get to another Power Gem there, though. They make a very good play, takes out my Alola Ninetales. Come in with Greedent, expecting the CMP tie on a move, so I don't throw my charge move. That's another thing. We want to try to maximize energy and potential farmability, so we didn't throw there. And then they swap into Medicham. And this is essentially GG at this point, because as Medicham has full health, we're going to land the Shadow Ball, which is nice, but does not do enough damage. They're going to be able to hit us with a charge move here, and here's what my mindset was in this match, was like, I'm going to Bullet Seed down and throw a bunch of moves at the Bastiodon and the Sableye. The thing wasn't dying to the Bullet Seeds. I was like, why won't you die? So I had to throw a Body Slam because I didn't want to take any more counter damage. They come back in with the Bastiodon, we throw a Bullet Seed, we get off a Crunch in hopes that this Crunch will take out. What we really needed was that 30% debuff. We don't get it. If we would have gotten it, that next Bullet Seed would have taken out the remaining health. Mathematically speaking, it had to have. We would have been at another Crunch to throw the Sableye, and we could have potentially won that. I guess also what could have happened was, instead of what they do, they smack down this completely down. They didn't Stone Edge us down. So what also could have happened there was actually, I forgot how that happened now. Let me pull up the video really quick. What also could have happened was, wait. Oh, they did throw Stone Edge. Never mind, they did throw Stone Edge. They didn't smack down us, farm us down. But what we also could have done in this situation was worry about their energy, had a little bit more health if we wouldn't have taken so much damage from the Medicham. We could have thrown maybe like right away or after one more Bullet Seed to still have, and then take out the Medicham, save more health, still have enough energy for the Crunch on Bastiodon, but then we wouldn't have had enough energy for another move before they would have gotten the Stone Edge. We would have lost there. Maybe we could have played our energy right. We could have somehow had a Body Slam to throw the Bastiodon, and then we would have just had to try to outpace the Sableye. I think between the Bullet Seeds and the Body Slam with the Sableye's remaining health, we might have been able to take it out, but my memory is not the best in the battle. I don't remember if that Sableye had a lot of health or was almost dead. It doesn't really matter. We lost anyway. Opponent played it really well, and it was great two-end matches, even though we lost them, and Greedent did, go off, and it wasn't like Greedent was holding us back. I think Greedent has a place to stay in this Open Great League meta. It's a great Pokemon with a nice variety of coverage. Crunch only makes it better. It's super tanky. It's super spammy. It's ideally what the type of PvP Pokemon you're going to want to look for when building a team comp. I highly recommend it, and I think this is a very good team comp to put around it. The only glaring potential weakness is Scrafty, and outside of that, I mean, even with that, we were able to still play around it and beat Scrafty teams. And Scrafty in the lead specifically. But yeah, on that note, let me know your thoughts on the battles. Let me know your thoughts on Greedent. And let me know if there's anything you want me to test. I'm going to try and go through as many of the new moves and updated moves. Not new moves. No moves new, actually. But all the updated moves and updated move sets as possible in this first week. And then the second week, I'll try to give you some more of the meta teams and maybe some Great League Remix action. But yeah, just give me your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.